Okay, so before we jump into this video for today, I wanted to put a little disclaimer because what I talk about in this video, I had fully intended to begin the beef butter bacon egg challenge at the beginning of June. I recorded this video right before my son's birthday and right before Memorial Day weekend. But unfortunately, on Memorial Day weekend, we had an incident occur that kind of derailed our plans for starting anything. And I kind of just went into a mode of I didn't really have the mindset in place to begin the beef butter bacon egg challenge. It's not that it is difficult because it's incredibly simple, but it would mean that I would have to cook separate meals or basically separate meats for other people that are in our household. And I didn't know if I was going to have the energy or if I was going to be in the right place to expend the mental energy that was needed for figuring that stuff out. It doesn't seem like it's such a big deal, but you don't know what was going on, and it really isn't. It's not health wise, nothing like that. It's an issue with our neighbors. It seems that we are plagued, no matter where we go, with neighbors who are basically like butts. So anyway, we had an incident with the neighbors that caused an incredibly large amount of stress, which is something that I'm personally trying to avoid, desperately need to avoid, but they kind of made that impossible. So anyway, so I wasn't in the place that I needed to be to start the beef butter bacon egg challenge. But anyway, these butter balls that we're making here today, they're just carnivore. You can eat them any old time, so you don't necessarily have to be doing the beef butter bacon egg challenge. We haven't had these yet, or we still haven't tried them yet. But anyway, so I just wanted to come on here real quick and let you know that before we started this video, because I just, full disclosure, didn't want you to think that I was cheating on my challenge already if you see me posting videos about other things that we're eating that wouldn't fall into the beef butter bacon egg challenge. So anyway, just wanted to let you know that. Okay, so today, because we don't always have time, and the whole purpose of eating this way, well, one of the unintended benefits of eating this way was discovering how much less stress that is in our life when we eat a more simplified way. So to make it even more simple, we just stick to primarily beef, chicken wings. We eat a lot of burgers. That's mostly what we eat. But for the month of June, we're going to be doing just the beef butter bacon and eggs, and to kind of give us a tiny little bit of variety, I'm going to make some meatballs. And I already made a lot of hamburgers, and I have some ground beef that I'm probably going to turn into meatballs that we ground the other day. But our local grocery store had their, what would be considered like their prime ground beef on sale, which is 80/20, which the ground beef that I generally grind, probably if I were to take the time to figure out, would be more on the lines of being like 90/10, because I leave all the fat on the brisket. I leave all the fat, well, not say all the fat, but we trim off very little. Usually the waste is very minimal when I grind the meat up ourselves from the chuck and brisket or whatever's on sale. But so this was 80/20. It was on sale for like $3.99 a pound, but with discounts, extra discounts, I ended up getting it for like $3.69 a pound, which is like a really good deal. And in order to be less stressed, I'm not going to stress too much about the fact that I didn't grind it. We can't be completely perfect. And trying to be completely perfect ends up making us, well, me in particular, stress way too much. And stress is something that I've never really understood until the past like 5 years or so, just how much it affects my health personally. My adrenal glands were completely shot about 8-9 years ago, and they haven't fully recovered. The carnivore diet hopefully will be helping me to recover, to heal more completely, because I still have quite a few issues. So anyway, to keep this simple, we are using grocery store ground beef that is pre-ground. So that's what it is. That's it. It is what it is. So anyway, so we have 5 pounds of 80-20 ground beef, and I'm just gonna make some simple meatballs with it, and these will be for our beef butter bacon egg challenge, which means no seasonings of any kind except for salt. So these are going to be extra simple, so way low stress. But because I usually make these, I make our burgers and meatballs and everything higher fat than what these will be, because they're only 80-20. I am going to add a little something, which you can probably see it right there. We're going to make these some beef butter and eggs. The bacon won't be in these because we have one member of our family who chooses not to eat bacon or pork of any kind. So if I'm making big batch meals, I generally leave out any kind of pork products. Even though he's not doing the beef butter bacon eggs challenge with us completely, he still has turkey sausage and things like that. So he's younger, he doesn't have to. His healing is not quite as his need for healing is not quite as deep as mine is. All right, so 5 pounds of ground beef. And by the way, apron, this is one of my vintage ones. It's a collection that I've had for many years, and after losing 35 pounds, I can actually get it tied in the back. So this is like one of the first times I've worn this apron. I usually don't wear aprons very often, but to try to keep the minimum of corgi hair from getting in here, I put my apron on today. So we're going to take just a regular old stick of butter, and this was on sale too. I think I ended up getting it for like $2.69 a pound for the whole pound. But you know, generally we like to use grass-fed butter, which I also get at the grocery store, which is Kroger. It's like a half mile from my house, and my daughter is working there at the moment, so we kind of get a discount. So that's always good. And then we're also going to use just some cage-free eggs. I actually have a line from a local lady who also has corgis, who has chickens, and she's just now started selling her eggs. So hopefully I'll be able to get some local eggs here really soon, if she's not sold out by the time I get there. But anyway, so we have just the store eggs, and we're gonna add those in here. But first I'm gonna get my butter cut up. And I'm just gonna cube it up like I would if I were gonna make biscuits. But we don't need biscuits anymore. And I apologize in advance if you can hear my dishwasher running. The thing's from the Stone Age, and so it's seriously loud. But when you rent, it is what it is, and that's what it came with, and so that's what we're using. So we're gonna get the butter just chopped. We're just gonna put that in there, mix it in. I'm going to add some red and real salt. All right, so now we're just gonna add a couple eggs. For probably a day's worth, I would only add like 1 egg, but since we're doing this for the beef butter and bacon egg challenge, I'm gonna add 3. And there's also 5 pounds of meat in here, which granted, 5 pounds of meat kind of sounds like a lot, but there are 5 of us, 5 grown adults. 2 of them being men who can eat a lot. Not to say that I don't eat a lot. At least for breakfast. I haven't been eating a whole lot for dinners lately. It kind of, after 4 months, I feel like I just don't need to eat that much anymore. I don't know why, but I don't have the cravings. I really don't even crave much of anything. It's kind of like, or have a desire for much of anything, food-wise anyway. I don't know, my mom had this thing, I don't know, however many years ago, she worked for a weight loss company called, oh my gosh, I can't remember. Anyway, this was back in the like early 80s, and it was just a small, I think it was locally owned. I mean, she worked with the owner, so I'm not sure. It was in Indiana. Gloria Marshall's, that's the name of it. Anyway, my mom worked for Gloria Marshall, so she was kind of all into the, although she did not have a weight problem, my mom never did. She was a salesperson, and she worked for Gloria Marshall's, and I remember her like having books and stuff around, and one of them, and as a child who was considered plump, and my mom was always trying to figure out ways to help me lose weight. Not that it was, I mean, she was just trying to be helpful. A lot of the stuff turned to not be so helpful for my mental health anyway. But anyway, I digress. There was something that I read that said that you need to live, or eat to live instead of live to eat. And I don't think I've ever really felt like that until like now. I'm like 50, and I mean, I just turned 50 a few days ago, and for the first time in my life that I can remember, I'm not thinking about food all the time. I'm not craving food. I'm not like planning different things. Like my son's birthday's coming up, and usually we would have like one of my favorite things, which was chicken Alfredo pizza, or we would have chicken Alfredo, also something that's one of his favorites obviously too, or that's why I would be making it, but it's also one of mine. But that's what we'd be making. But now I'm going to, I mean, I really haven't been thinking too hard about it. I think I'm going to make him a carnivore cheesecake, and since his birthday is May 31st, we're actually starting our beef butter bacon eggs on June 1st, so I'll be able to still have the dairy on that day, so it works out. So anyway, so I haven't been like, you know, really focused a lot on the food, and he hasn't either. I don't think really any of us in our family who have been doing this are. So eggs mixed in, got our butter chunks. Now all I'm going to do is just roll these up into some little balls. Okay, so just going to line the cookie sheet with some parchment paper. And roll it up into some pretty decent sized balls. Butter chunks in each one. And anyway, we're keeping this low stress, so don't worry too much. You make them as big or as little as you want to. I try to keep the butter from sticking out too much. That way it doesn't just melt all out over the pan. you're rolling, you can kind of use your thumb. Your thumb is going to like press on the sides and help it to make it into like a smooth ball. But again, no worries if your ball looks like a spaceship or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Flat as a pancake. Maybe you're making meat pancakes. Alright, so since we're not starting the beef butter bacon eggs until June, I'm going to actually put these, not going to cook them right now, I'm going to stick them in the freezer, flash freeze them, and then once they're frozen, we can put them into a Ziploc bag and store them that way. So it makes it really easy later to bring them out. And if you freeze them beforehand, like on a sheet tray, then they don't stick together when you put them in a bag. So I'm just gonna go stick these in the freezer and get them all frozen before we put them in a Ziploc bag.